Hey gang, the world is burning. So let's talk about something frivolous to get our minds off of it for a moment. Welcome back to another edition of Toys I Did Not Own as a Kid. Today we are talking Gobots, and we're going to be talking specifically about Gobot Slicks here. So for those of you who don't know, Gobots is a toy line that was released in the United States in 1984 by, actually 1983 I believe, but either way by the company Tonka, which got the license from Bandai. And these were originally called Machine Robo. It was a toy line from 1982, I believe, in Japan that came out. It was a little company called Popey that made them, and they were a subsidiary of Bandai, which Tonka got the license from. So in Japan, this was part of what is called the 600 series. The 600 series is basically called that because you would spend 600 yen and you got yourself one of these little guys. The great thing about the Gobots was that they were designed so that you could put them next to your either Hot Wheels or your Matchbox cars, and they would hide perfectly. They were pretty much the same scale as those two toy lines. So it was pretty cool to have them. In the USA, they beat the Transformers by about 6 months to the shelves, and they were doing fabulously until the Transformers came about. Also, they had a series made by Hanna-Barbera, an animated series, that also came out a few months before the Transformers did. And again, they were doing fabulously until the Transformers came out. Hanna-Barbera was, of course, one of the biggest animation studios at the time. So, the cartoon, even though it wasn't great as far as the animation was concerned or as far as the character designs, they did design them to look exactly like the toys did. So Transformers actually did a better job of advertising because of the fact that they redesigned the toys the way that the characters looked in the cartoon, and so they made them look way better. They actually Hasbro hired a Japanese animation company or Korean animation company, I can't remember, along with Marvel Studios. And they not only made comics for the Transformers, but they also made that series that looked way cooler. But it wasn't an anime style, which meant that Hasbro was actually afraid that because Hanna-Barbera, being one of the biggest studios at the time, was making the Gobots, they were actually afraid that American kids were not going to enjoy an anime style series. And so they were actually very scared, and they took the risk or thought that they thought that they were possibly not going to be successful, and they were wrong 100%, because the Transformers, as we all know, definitely lasted much longer than the Gobots did, both the toy line and the series, and they have made many reiterations. So there you go. I just transformed him while we were talking history. That's what he looks like as a robot, and he looks pretty cool. His nose is a little beat up there. It looks like the paint has been removed off of his nose. The cool thing about these also is that they have some die cast on them. At the very least, the main torso is usually die cast, and then the rest is plastic. So Slicks in the Machine Robo line was designated MR32. MR is for Machine Robo 32, and he was called F1 Robo because that's what he transforms into, an F1 racer. And he transforms into a Renault RE20 as a Gobot. Again, he was called Slicks. He was a renegade, meaning that he was one of the bad guys, and he was voiced by Frank Welker. Now, if you don't know who Frank Welker is, shame on you, because if you are a Transformers fan, you should know who Frank Welker is. He was the voice of Megatron. But Frank Welker was one of those guys that did voiceovers for pretty much any series that you saw between the 70s and the 90s, and even up to now. He did animal voices. He did the voice for Scooter in the Gobots as well. We all know him for Megatron, but he did lots and lots of voices. So, as you can see, he also did some backup voices for the series of the Gobots. So there you go. That's what he looks like as a robot. Pretty cool. I like him much better as a robot than I do as a car, because as a car, He doesn't really function that great. We have some other GoBots in the back there, and as cars, as vehicles, they actually work great. They work just like a Hot Wheel or a Matchbox. Slicks doesn't. This one in particular, he's got some damage on his wheels, but that's not the reason why. He actually gets very loose very easily and doesn't hold together all that great as a vehicle. But as a robot, he's pretty excellent. He completely changes to the point where you kind of don't know where he went. So I'm going to transform him back so you can see that transformation. And then we'll be done because I pretty much said everything that there is to say. The reason why I did not own this as a kid is because I did own GoBots, but I didn't own this particular one. There were so many that there was no way to own them all. Just like there's no way you can ever own every Hot Wheel or every Matchbox. As a kid, I've never known anybody that actually owned every single GoBot as a kid. I know that there are GoBot collectors out there that possibly own every single GoBot now, at least one version of each one, but I definitely did not know any children that owned them as a kid, especially since you first got them. Most of us first, or most kids first got them when they first came out, and then when Transformers came out, you were only interested in actually buying or getting Transformers. So I grew up in a poor neighborhood, and so we were not actually ashamed. Most people would say that they were ashamed of owning GoBots. They were called Kmart Transformers because they were so cheap. Most of them were actually anywhere between $2 and $4. $2 and $3 really, and depending on where you bought them. Actually, I'm lying. He works pretty well. It's just that he gets kind of loose. This one was in great shape. I got him at an estate sale, and again, there's a little bit of damage. But now that I'm using him on this particular table, he's doing pretty good in vehicle mode. So this one was in great shape. There is some wear and tear, some paint chips there. Here and there, and I showed you the paint chip on his nose. But other than that, pretty awesome, right? Pretty awesome. Mirages eat your heart out. Great thing about GoBots is that they did not come, or most of them did not come with any accessories that you could lose. Some of them did. Some of them had weapons. Some of them had, parts that you could take off like the helicopters did, but most of them, especially the cars, did not. Anyway, the video is getting long, so let me know what you guys think in the comments about these about GoBots in general, about this one in particular, and as usual, if you like the video, hit a like, and if you like the content, subscribe. Thanks for watching.